welcome to the reading of The Older Gentleman, everyone. I'd like to introduce our actors today.
My name is Terry Fender. I'll be reading the roles of the pianist and the woman.
My name is Shane King. I'll be reading the role of college chum.
I'm Bill Hudson. I'm reading The Older Gentleman.
I'm Edward Wayne, and I'll be reading Boy.
I'm Nils Holland, and I'll be reading the role of the recruiting officer. And there's a social studies teacher and a physical education teacher. And Robert Taylor.
And I'm Tim Siragusa, and I'll be reading stage directions.
I forgot really.
The Older Gentleman by Max Sparber. The year is 1962, and the location is Crete, Nebraska. Most of the action of the play will take place at Doane College, which is preparing for the return of one of its alumni, film actor Robert Taylor, née Spangler Arlington Brew. The rest of the action will take place at the house of the titular older gentleman. These changes should be represented by simple shifts in stage properties and furniture, but they should be precise in design. Doane should have an anonymous, functional, manufactured feel to it. The house of the older gentleman, on the other hand, should be redolent with faux glamour, a version of Hollywood high fashion of the 40s done on the cheap. The first scene in the play is set in the interior of a performing hall on the Doane campus. The stage is bare but for a podium, an upright piano, which will remain on stage for most of the play. Also on stage are a pianist and a boy. The boy will likewise remain on stage throughout most of the play, with merely the scene shifting behind him. He sings a song. He finishes singing his song.
Good, very good. But you say your voice hurts.
Sore, ma'am, after the singing.
The song seems to be in your register. You're not straining for notes.
No, Mrs. Tolson.
Well, keep up with the exercises I suggested. You will do that.
Yes.
Sometimes a voice simply needs to develop.
Yes, but I worry I will be hoarse
Yes.
for the performance.
Ah, yes. Well, there are a few weeks yet. Keep up with the exercises.
I will.
And take care of your voice. No shouting. You're not much of a shouter, are you?
Shouter?
At sporting events?
No, not much.
Well, none at all then. No shouting. And no smoking.
Well, I don't.
Ugly habit. Roughs up the voice. You might take to wearing a scarf around your neck. Keep the throat warm.
I will.
Tea.
Tea?
With honey in it. I find that to be a tremendous balm. But the exercises mostly.
Yes, the exercises.
Perhaps you should do some now. In the meanwhile, I have a class to teach.
The pianist exits. The boy stands in silence for a moment, then begins a vocal exercise.
Mama,
A college chum enters now from off stage, and as he speaks, stagehands silently switch the furnishings. The scene is now a gym. The chum begins jumping rope. The boy sits himself on the floor and watches.
I can't think who he is.
You've seen his movies.
Sure, I know I have. I just can't think of what.
Quo Vadis.
No.
You've seen Quo Vadis. They show it on television all the time. It's a big spectacle about the early Christians.
Was he crucified upside down?
No, that was Simon Peter. Finlay Curry, I think. Robert Taylor was a Roman who fell in love with a Christian girl.
I can't think of what he looked like. What else was he in?
Robert Taylor was in The Detectives. You've watched The Detectives, haven't you?
Sure. Who did he play in The Detectives?
Matt Holbrook.
The detective?
They were all detectives.
Yeah, but, you know, the captain of the detectives.
Yeah, star of the show. It was called The Detective, starring Robert Taylor.
Hey, yeah, I remember. So he went to Doane, huh?
Yes, but he was called Spangler Brew back then.
What?
Spangler Arlington Brew. It's his real name.
You know a lot about Robert Taylor.
I sort of grew up with him. In Philly. He and my mother went to high school together.
In Philly?
Yes.
Nebraska.
Yes.
Where is that?
East of Beatrice.
So that's where Robert Taylor is from.
My mother said she had a terrible crush on him in high school. She still drags us to see all his movies.
And now you're going to serenade him.
Oh, whoa. Well, not exactly.
Well, what would you call it?
I'm singing a song in a musical production when he comes to visit. It's not the same thing as, serenading.
It's a love song.
Well, it's not the same as standing outside his window with a ukulele. Besides, men don't sing love songs to other men.
Not with voices like yours, they don't.
What do you mean?
So hoarse.
Oh, yes, I'm straining it somehow.
Tea.
The older gentleman enters now. He is dressed in an elegant suit with a scarf tucked around his neck, a thin movie star mustache, a smoking jacket, and slippers. His gestures are flamboyant and exaggerated, and he speaks with an affected accent as someone would who has been through extensive diction training.
Tea?
That's what everybody tells me.
Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt. Warm up your throat, don't you know?
Does it help? I have been drinking a lot of tea.
No. No, I don't imagine it would help much either. Except where restroom duties are concerned. Wonderful diuretic tea.
Well, I am supposed to sing in 2 weeks.
For Robert Taylor.
Yes.
I had hoped you would say yes. How grand, Robert Taylor. Have you seen Ivanhoe?
Yes.
Poor Bobby. Wasn't really up to the task of playing a medieval soldier, but still, he was so very handsome to look at. And the film itself is so utterly marvelous. I knew him, you know.
You knew Robert Taylor?
Somewhat. Hollywood is not so large a town, and we Nebraskans tend to clump up together. I put Dorothy McGuire onto a marvelous parfumery, and Henry Fonda and I share a tailor. Not Robert Taylor, of course.
You've been to Hollywood?
Oh, my dear boy, did Miss Tollefson tell you nothing about me when she passed my number along?
Just that you have experience as a voice coach.
Yes, I do. I do have that. I must admit, though, that I am surprised that the Tollefson woman gave you my name. She seems to disapprove.
Disapprove?
Well, you know how suspicious these rural sorts can be. Where are you from, by the way?
Philly.
Oh, my goodness, then you certainly do know. I would think Tollefson would have warned you away from me.
Well, she did say you were flamboyant.
Flamboyant. I suppose I should thank her for expressing herself kindly. Well, my boy, if you would like some help, I expect that I can give it. 2 weeks should be plenty to iron out the roughness in your voice.
I don't have much money, I'm afraid. I can pay.
Oh, posh! I won't ask for money. Just take me with you to the performance. I would be delighted to see Bobby again. I've gotten so behind on my gossip. Now, come to the piano.
The older gentleman crosses to the piano, sits behind it. The boy follows him.
Sing through each of these scales.
He plays through several scales, starting quite low and moving quite high. The boy sings, and as he does, the older gentleman listens with a practiced ear.
You have a good range. A nice vibrato as well. Subtle. So many singers warble through their songs like drunken pigeons. But your vibrato is not too pronounced. Have you sung before?
In school choir and in church.
Your posture is terrible, however. We shall have to work on that. The wind doesn't pass through you properly, and it is giving your voice something of a reedy quality.
Is that what is causing my hoarseness?
No, but still, you don't want to be reedy for Robert Taylor. When I was young, they made boys stand up straight. It is a good habit, and you must promise me to make it your habit. Do you promise?
Yes.
Good. How often can you come by?
How often should I come by?
Your performance is in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Oh, that Tollefson woman. She should have sent you here sooner instead of forcing tea down your throat. Can you come every day?
Every day?
Is it possible, or are you too busy with school?
Is it necessary?
We have very limited time. We might be able to spare a day here or there if your schedule is such, but yes, I would say it is absolutely necessary.
Then I will come every day.
You do want to sound as good as possible for Robert Taylor, don't you?
Yes, and for my mother.
Your mother?
She will be attending as well.
From Philly?
Yes, she is quite fond of Robert Taylor.
Yes. It is hard not to be.
The college chum returns with 2 desks, and he and the boy sit as the older gentleman exits. A physical health teacher, a very severe-looking man with thick spectacles, appears behind them, wheeling in a metal AV cart with a 16mm projector on it. The lights flicker as though a movie were playing. In the background, the narration and soundtrack to Boys Beware, a 1961 educational film about homosexuality, is audible.
The film is meant for high school students. I apologize if the content seems to be immature.
Then, during lunch, Ralph showed him some pornographic pictures. Jimmy knew he shouldn't be interested, but, well, he was curious. What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick.
Subject matter might be embarrassing, but the topic is important. At your age range, you are particularly susceptible, and those of you who are studying to be teachers, well,
You see, Ralph,
you might have some students who could be at risk.
the companionship, the praise, the friendly attitude dispelled any misgivings Jimmy might have had about going with a stranger.
When any of you visit
Probably
Lincoln
never
or Omaha or
realized
any
until
other big city, you might find yourself in
that he was
contact with an
rising
illegal
in the shadow
degenerate
of
underground
death.
without knowing it.
But sometime that evening,
You might be
Jimmy
invited
Merrick
to a small
traded his
social
life
gathering
for
or
a
walk into a
newspaper
bar
headline.
unawares. You might find yourself in conversation with a stranger at a diner. As normal as these activities might seem, believe it or not, everyone participating in them might be homosexual.
Homosexual, sir?
I'll pause the movie for a moment.
He fiddles with the projector. The lights cease flickering.
Homosexual, Mr. Swanson, is a psychological term for a sort of mental illness. To use utterly frank language, it describes men and women who have aberrant sexual interest in romantic partners of the same gender. Perhaps you've already heard about such people?
Yes, but I haven't known what to call them.
You have no doubt heard some of the popular slang words for the homosexuals. Fairy, for example. Flit, pansy. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Homosexual is the proper term. Female homosexuals are sometimes called lesbians. Let us return to the film.
Public restrooms.
I saw a film like this
Can
in
often
6th
be a
grade.
hangout
You did?
for the
Yes, it was called
homosexual.
Dangerous Stranger. You know, I
Bobby
couldn't
and
wait to
his
see it.
friends hadn't
couldn't.
noticed
My
the
older
man
brother
who
saw it the year
watched
before, and he had
them
heard
as
about
they
it from the older
changed.
kids. They showed it for years. Everybody knew about the film. All year long, we kept saying, "Is this the week when we watch Dangerous Strangers?" The film was like legendary.
How was it?
We talked about it for months. The film was confusing.
Why confusing?
Well, the film was about strangers coming up to kids and offering them candy. And that was it. You might be in an alley and a strange man would come up to you, and you were supposed to run. It was years later that I figured out the people were fairies.
Mr. Swanson, is there something you would like to share with the class?
We were just talking and wondering, sir, if homosexuality is a mental illness, why don't homosexuals go to psychiatrists?
A good question again, Mr. Swanson. I will turn off the projector and answer your question.
He turns off the projector. The older gentleman enters over this and seats himself at the piano.
Some homosexuals do look for treatment. Some, however, do not, and try to fight their abnormal feelings by themselves with varying degrees of success. And some do not believe there is anything wrong with them at all.
Sing again, please.
The boy sings as the chum and the teacher exit the stage. He finishes singing.
Ah, do you hear it?
Do I hear?
In the lower notes.
What is it?
Coup de glotte. The stroke of your glottis is too harsh. You're exploding air out of your lungs with too much force on the lower notes. It is causing a shock to your vocal cords.
Is that what is causing the hoarseness?
I'm sure of it. You're probably also using the root of your tongue to depress your larynx. Do you thrust your jaw out when you sing low notes?
I don't know.
Sing one.
Ta, ta, no, no. I do.
Ah, I expected as much. Glottal shock is common in singers who haven't received formal training.
You can fix it.
Well, there are exercises, yes. It is easy to correct. We shall have to fill the 2 weeks with them, though. We've already lost a day just finding the problem. Do you know, Barrymore had the same problem.
Who?
Barrymore. John Barrymore, the great profile. Although I would have called him the great voice after he fixed his glottal shock, of course. A little before your time, I'm afraid. He died the year I entered the Army.
When was that?
1942, 3rd Infantry. We smashed our way from Casablanca to Berchtesgaden. I would show you my medals, but I'm bored with them myself. Anyway, I'm sure you've seen enough medals. Your father must have some.
No, he had flat feet instead.
Well, in the end, he was probably better off. Just before we left for war, many of us who lived in Omaha went to the Black Diamond, which was a bar we used to frequent. We hung our hats by the rafters, promising to recover them when we came back. Many of the hats were never recovered. And I'm sure your father supported the war effort at home anyway.
He started a mail-order orthopedic shoe business.
There, many soldiers came back with special needs, orthopedically speaking. I myself brought home a slight limp, as I'm sure you've noticed. A bit of shrapnel as a souvenir, a going-home present from the Wehrmacht.
I'm thinking of going into the Army myself.
Not much call for singers in the military. Look into the USO.
Oh, I don't mean as a singer.
I know, I was teasing. What are you studying?
Well, I'm studying to be a primary education teacher.
Not much call for that either, I'm afraid.
Well, I wouldn't start that job until after the Army. Teasing again.
Yes. Well, good luck to you. It's a great way to see the world. Robert Taylor was in the Navy, you know. He directed training films. And you know what else?
What?
His degree was in music. He was a cellist. I'd tell you to hang your hat at the Black Diamond before you go off to the Army, boy, but it's probably not your sort of bar.
The pianist emerges and seats herself at the piano as the older gentleman graciously exits.
Your voice certainly sounds better.
I think the exercises are working.
My exercises?
Well, yes, to an extent, but also the exercises of my tutor.
Oh, yes, well, good. You have a lovely natural singing voice, and this is a lovely auditorium to sing in. It's quite old, don't you know?
Yes?
1902, Prairie School. Robert Taylor played cello here, right here on this spot. Before my time, of course. Sing again.
The boy does so. He finishes singing.
Nice. Very lovely. Yes, we shall have quite a show for Mr. Taylor when he comes, and I must say I am quite excited.
My tutor knows Robert Taylor.
No, don't be silly.
Yes, he said they spent time together in Hollywood.
Oh, I find that unlikely. Perhaps professionally, but not as friends.
Well, not as friends, no, but he said they socialized, gossiped.
That's silly. He's just boasting.
Silly. Why?
I honestly doubt that Robert Taylor has the time for a twittering old fool like your tutor. Mr. Taylor is the son of a doctor. He studied medicine himself. He was a soldier. He testified before Congress.
Oh.
You don't understand, and that's fine. I will just say that Robert Taylor is one sort of man and has one sort of group of friends, and your tutor is another sort of man and has a different group of friends. Let us leave it at that.
All right.
How has your tutor been treating you?
Well, he's very strict, but he's helped a lot.
He hasn't been overly familiar.
What do you mean?
He hasn't offered you alcohol, for example?
Alcohol? No,
Does he talk to you much?
not much.
Perhaps he shouldn't at all. Can I give you some advice?
Yes, ma'am.
Go. Take your vocal lessons from him, but don't spend much time talking to him. I am told he is a very good vocal coach, which is why I gave you his number. But if he tries to be friendly beyond being a vocal coach, thank him and go your merry way. Will you agree to that?
But why?
He is a silly man. He has strange qualities. I would prefer not to go into it, but please, trust me, he is not a friend you want to make. In fact, I would rather you not go see him alone.
Oh?
Take a friend next time.
Are you serious, Mrs. Tollefson? You talk as though he is dangerous.
But sometimes excessive silliness can be dangerous. You will understand when you are older. Let's not talk about this anymore. Just tell me that you will bring somebody with you.
Really?
My goodness, yes, promise me.
All right, Mrs. Tollefson.
The college chum enters, and the older gentleman, as the pianist leaves, the older gentleman holds a silver tea tray with 2 cups.
If I had known you were bringing a guest, I would have made more tea. Well, I'll give up my cup.
Oh, please, no. He can have my cup of tea.
Truly?
I have had enough tea.
I imagine you have. And to what do I owe this unexpected extra visitor?
We're going to Lincoln later to see a movie. I asked if I could tag along rather than wait up.
How fun! What movie are you planning to see?
How the West Was Won.
With Henry Fonda. Yes, that's excellent. I saw it last week. I particularly liked Richard Widmark. Did you ever see Kiss of Death?
No.
Oh, he's so terrifying in it. He played a giggling killer, and at one point he throws a woman in a wheelchair down a flight of stairs. I imagine your father would disapprove. One less customer for orthopedic shoes.
Have you met Richard Widmark?
Richard and I have shared many a drink. You know, he's a Midwestern boy. He was born in Minnesota.
You've had drinks with Richard Widmark?
Well, we worked for the same studio on many occasions, and he didn't like to drink alone. He once asked me to take him to my favorite bar, but it was the Bijou, and I couldn't take him there.
Why not?
Well, the Bijou has a sort of specialized clientele. It is very déclassé, very, well, working class and rough. There are all sorts of people there that Richard would not want to be in the company of, despite his tendency to play tough guys in films.
There were criminals in the bar?
Of a sort. But Cary Grant is fond of it too, as is Gary Cooper, so how terrible could it be, really? Although they would have simply died if anyone had ever snapped their photo at the Bijou. The tabloids could be merciless, utterly merciless.
Why did you leave Hollywood?
Well, I didn't want to. Me and my friend Andy made a good living out there. We shared a house with a pool, beautiful little stucco thing, painted pink, just off La Cienega. But, well, Mother got sick, and I decided to move back to Crete to tend to her. Andy kept the stucco and the pool and the poodle, and I got this. Mother willed it to me. I've redecorated, of course. Mother had a taste for little statuettes of ponies that I did not share. Although I've kept 2 of them there on the mantel next to her urn. Oh, where are my manners? I should have offered guests some cookies as well. I know you're off tea, but some cookies?
Sure, that sounds great.
I will fetch them at once. Chocolate chip. I bake them myself, and I've been waiting for the opportunity to share them. But afterward, we must begin practice. I'll be just a minute.
The older gentleman exits. After a moment, the college chum turns to the boy.
So, do you think he is one?
What?
A fairy?
Are you serious?
Yes, he seems like a fairy to me. Has he tried anything with you?
What sort of things?
Has he tried to touch you?
What? No! No, he's been very nice, very professional. This has been the longest talk we've had. Usually he just has me practice vocal exercises.
Well, maybe he isn't a flit. I could have sworn he was, though. Hadn't that ever occurred to you?
No, he's a war hero, you know.
Really?
He's got a piece of German shrapnel in his leg. They don't let homosexuals in the army, do they?
No, I think they don't. Well, you can never tell who is what. Maybe he's just eccentric.
Cookies! I hope you boys have managed to keep yourself amused while I was in the other room.
A recruitment officer enters and seats himself. He speaks to the boy as the others leave.
There are advantages to enlisting in the Army, son. Do you know your draft status?
1A.
Not surprised. You look like a solid young man. Frankly, the Army could use you. As an enlisted soldier, you can pick your training. Soldiers who are drafted get no such privilege. Additionally, your enlistment would only be for 3 years. For draftees, it's 4. When do you graduate?
The summer after this one.
Well, there's no reason not to discuss it now, even if you do not enter the Army until the summer of 1964. What is your interest in the military?
Travel, for one.
Yeah, we get that a lot. There are certainly opportunities for travel. The Army currently has bases in Germany, the Philippines, Guam, Honolulu. We even have 4,000 soldiers in Indochina, although not all of them are Army, of course. Is there any place you would particularly like to go?
Do you have a base in Los Angeles?
Los Alamitos, a Joint Forces Training Center. You're interested in palm trees and movie stars, son.
Honestly, I'm interested in just about anything, sir. I haven't been further west in Colorado.
You can go as far west as you like in the Army, son. As far east as well. We've even had soldiers in the South Pole since last year, if you can believe it. Now, you have any questions about the Army, son?
Well, I have one.
All right. I'm here to answer questions.
I have heard that you don't allow homosexuals in the Army.
That's true, son. Why do you want to know?
It's just something I had heard.
Well, you don't need to worry about sharing your showers or bunks with a homosexual, son. Before people even enter the Army, we ask them right on their application if they are homosexual.
Does anybody ever answer yes?
No. Never heard of anyone answering yes. I don't reckon homosexuals have much interest in joining the Army, and the Army don't want them anyway. You know, anybody with a history of mental illness, well, it wouldn't be a good idea to let them near a gun, would it?
No.
And if a man has strange feelings about other men, well, it really wouldn't do to let them around other men either, would it?
No.
No.
What if a homosexual lied to you and did get into the Army?
Well, if they tried any funny business, they would go to jail. And after that, they'd get a dishonorable discharge which would follow them for the rest of their lives. So it wouldn't be very smart of a fairy to try to get into the Army, would it?
No.
Now, do you have any questions about the Army that isn't about homosexuals?
A woman enters and brings with her a table, the sort popular at restaurants. She sits at it, and the boy crosses to her, sitting opposite. The recruitment officer exits.
So father won't be coming?
No, he must work on taxes, and he doesn't like this sort of thing, you know. But I will be there, of course. When did you get your hair cut last?
A few weeks ago.
Oh, let me give you a few dollars before I go. It is getting a little unkempt. You have such a handsome face. We don't want it hidden by girlish curls.
Well, I haven't started growing curls yet, Mother.
Oh, you're such a good-looking boy. Don't spend all your time at college chasing after girls.
You don't need to worry about that, Mother.
I'd like to worry about it. Is there anyone special in your life just now? Now, don't be ashamed to tell your mother.
I've been very busy with school, Mother, and with rehearsals. I haven't had time for that.
No steady girl on your arm? Oh, don't tell me you haven't been dating. With your face, the girls should be throwing themselves at you.
We go out as a gang sometimes. The girls are my friends.
Well, when you get the moment, ask one of these girls to go out without the gang. You don't want to end up an old bachelor, do you?
I suppose I don't, Mother. Oh, look,
The older gentleman enters.
that's my singing tutor.
Well, you should call him over. Maybe he would like to join us.
Mr. De Silva.
Well, good evening,
Gentlemen,
Mr. Krause.
Mr. De Silva, this is my mother. Mother, this is my singing tutor, Mr. De Silva.
Mrs. Krause.
My son has told me that you have done wonders for his singing voice.
It's a fine voice to begin with, Mrs. Krause. I just made sure he was using it properly.
What brings you into Lincoln, Mr. De Silva?
I was just taking in a movie, Lolita, at the Joyo.
My goodness, how was that?
Very interesting. Have you read the book?
No, but I have certainly heard it talked about. However did they make it into a movie, I wonder?
Well, they couldn't have made the book directly into a movie, but the film had many details from the book, and it kept the deliciously sardonic tone of the book. I'm a very great fan of an older film by the same director called The Killing.
Oh, I saw that with Sterling Hayden. Oh, where are my manners? Are you meeting someone, Mr. De Silva? Or would you like to join us for dinner? We haven't ordered yet.
I am not meeting anyone, but I wouldn't dream of intruding.
Oh, it's no intrusion. By all means, have a seat.
And what brings you to Lincoln, Mrs. Krause?
Oh, my mother was from Lincoln, Mr. De Silva. She's buried here, right next to Theodore Epp.
Theodore Epp?
From the Back to the Bible radio show.
Oh, yes, I remember now. Tell me the old story of Jesus and his love. Yes, I've heard that show a few times.
I visit my mother every month. And since Junior here started attending Doan, we've made it a tradition to eat at King's when I do.
What a lovely tradition. I'm sure he's been telling you all sorts of stories about the school's preparations for Robert Taylor's return.
Now, he has been telling me that he's been too busy to date. Now, when you came in, I was just warning him that if he is not careful, he'll end up an older bachelor.
A good warning. I am an older bachelor myself, and I cannot recommend it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. De Silva. I should have thought before I opened my mouth. I just saw the ring on your finger, and I thought...
Oh, you thought right. I was married.
You were?
Oh, sure he was. I'd be surprised if you hadn't been, Mr. De Silva. You've got a very elegant, charming quality about you that I am sure many women would simply have gone mad for.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Krause. Unfortunately, elegance and charm is not enough to make a marriage. We have been apart for 15 years, although we were never formally divorced. She and my daughter live in Kansas City.
Oh, you have a daughter. Well, I hope you get to see her, Mr. De Silva. A growing girl needs a man in her life that she can count on.
You are right, of course. I see her as often as I can, but I wish it were more often. It is difficult to travel to Kansas City as often as I should, particularly since I was a resident of Hollywood up until 3 years ago.
My son mentioned the fact you must have so many interesting stories.
He knew Robert Taylor.
Really? I went to school with him back when he was Spangler Brew.
What was he like back then?
Very nice looking, a very neat, soft-spoken young man. I sat behind him in many classes and I found it awfully distracting. What was he like when you knew him?
Still distracting.
A civics teacher enters now.
Mr. Krause, will you stand and read to the class from where I have underlined?
The boy rises as the woman and the older gentleman exit. The civics teacher hands him a newspaper, and the boy reads.
There is no greater threat to democracy today than the insidious, creeping red menace.
Stop right there. The quote you just read is the first sentence in a letter to the editor in this morning's newspaper. Can you tell the class what the writer means by the red menace, Mr. Krause?
Communism, sir.
Communism, yes, Mr. Krause. And please read the name of the author of the letter, Mr. Krause.
Irwin Fielder, SFC, U.S. Army Company A.
I won't have you read the entire letter, Mr. Krause, but in it, Master Sergeant Fielder explains that he is a veteran of the Korean conflict. Why do you think he'd be writing a letter about communism now? After all, we fought communists in Korea 10 years ago, and 10 years is a long time. And why would we worry about communism anyway? I mean, Russia, China, Korea, they're all so far away. Don't you agree, Mr. Krause?
Well, there are communists in Cuba.
Yes, there are. In fact, those of you who have been following the news might have heard about a little thing called an embargo. Have you been following the news, Mr. Krause?
Yes, President Kennedy is proposing that we refuse to buy goods made in Cuba.
More than that, Mr. Krause, he's proposing that we as a nation refuse to buy any goods from anywhere in the world made from or containing Cuban material. Now, why would he do that?
So that we don't provide economic support for a communist country?
But why should we care? Cuba's a very little Caribbean island, after all. If they want to be communists, shouldn't we let them?
I don't know, sir.
Well, that's the subject of our discussion today, so hopefully by the end of the class you'll be able to answer that question, Mr. Krause. Because you cannot understand current events without understanding the threat of communism, what our letter writer called the insidious creeping red menace, and what our country is doing to stem that menace.
The older gentleman enters, sits at the piano.
Sing it again, please.
The boy hands the newspaper back to the civics teacher, who exits. The boy sings his song. He finishes.
Fine, fine. You must relax your jaw more. But you're improving. Are the exercises helping?
I haven't felt hoarse all week. Do you have exercises for nerves?
You're nervous about performing?
Yes, very.
Well, I can't help you with that. Some of my friends in Hollywood left the theater because they couldn't get over stage fright. They could act in front of a camera with no problems, but to perform live, on stage, in front of an audience, it was simply too much. I told them they left the theater for the wrong reason.
What was the right reason?
Because movies pay so much better. Look, I was under contract to Paramount, and all I did was lead actors in some simple vocal exercises. I did that for 10 years, and I would be surprised if I'm not the richest man in Crete.
Do you plan to go back?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Well, that's a very hard question for me to answer completely. Let me ask you a question. What do you think of the song that you just sang?
It has been very helpful with my vocal exercises.
But do you like it?
I don't know.
Yes. I've noticed that you don't seem to have strong opinions about things in one way or the other. Well, let me rephrase the question. Do you dislike the song?
No.
I'm glad of that, because I wrote it.
You did?
Well, you can't be a vocal coach without eventually trying your hand at songwriting. When I moved out to Hollywood, it was still possible to bump into Cole Porter or Irving Berlin in the studio cantina. I suppose I always aspired to write songs like they did. Not much of a market for it, but I find it helps me express my feelings. That particular song I wrote about someone I fell in love with.
Yes.
It's a sort of gimmick. You fall in love, you write a song, you sing it to the object of your affections, and sometimes they fall in love right back.
Did it work?
For a little while. But in Hollywood, it is easy to get your heart broken. And I have dozens of such songs, and every one represents a broken heart. So when I moved back to Crete after my mother died, I thought I would just stay here and be a rich local eccentric. It would not get my heart broken anymore. You don't mind my telling you this?
No.
You're young, and to hear your mother tell it, don't date much. When you're older and have been on at least a few dates, you might understand this. It's very easy for a person to get lonely, and no matter how many times a heart gets broken, it wants to love again. Perhaps I can starve my stupid heart into submission in Crete.
I wouldn't give up hope. Maybe you'll meet an old spinster and fall in love again. Maybe an old maid working at a library.
Oh, now you're teasing me. I wouldn't worry about that. I'm not interested in old maids. If I do fall in love with some librarian, perhaps there is something I can do about it. Perhaps there is some sort of surgery.
Surgery? Are there doctors who will remove somebody's heart?
Well, not exactly, Mr. Teasy, but perhaps one day I shall tell you.
The pianist enters now with Robert Taylor.
Mr. Krause, I would like you to meet Robert Taylor. Mr. Taylor, this is Michael Krause, Jr. He will be our featured vocalist tonight.
Mr. Krause, excited about tonight?
Nervous.
I understand. When I used to play cello on this stage, I would feel like I was going to throw up.
Mr. Taylor is taking a tour of the campus this afternoon, Mr. Krause. He asked if he could peek in on a rehearsal.
If you don't mind.
I don't mind.
What are you working on?
A song for the production.
Can I hear it?
You don't mind, do you, Mr. Krause?
No.
The boy sings his song. He finishes.
Very nice. You've obviously been practicing very hard.
In fact, I have been studying with an acquaintance of yours from Hollywood.
You have?
Oh, now, Mr. Krause, I don't think Mr. Taylor would...
Who have you been studying with?
Abraham De Silva.
Abraham De Silva. That's right. I forgot he was from Nebraska.
You knew him?
Well, we had mutual friends. Abraham De Silva and Henry Fonda used to play cards together every weekend. And of course, we saw each other at the studio. How is Abe?
Good.
Glad to hear that. He left Hollywood to take care of his mother, didn't he?
Yes, she passed away though.
Well, I hope he will be coming tonight. He seemed quite depressed the last time I saw him. So it'll be good to see him in better spirits.
The older gentleman enters now, dressed in a shiny gold suit, holding a drink, obviously a little drunk.
Bobby!
Well, Abe, I heard you might be here tonight.
Others enter dressed in evening clothes, milling about, holding drinks.
Look at your suit.
Less flamboyant than you're used to.
Well, you did have that red silk double-breasted suit.
Well, Crete isn't Hollywood. You need to dress down a little in Nebraska.
You must be very proud of your student.
Didn't he sing magnificently? He's a little songbird.
Thank you.
Wasn't he handsome up there? Every eye in the conservatory was on him. That must have been very strange for you, Bobby. Usually he's the center of attention.
It was a welcome change.
So, how is the old gang?
At this moment, the boy's mother enters.
Everybody is well. Of course, you must have heard about Andrew.
Andrew? No. I haven't been in touch with anybody for quite a while.
Oh, bravo! Bravo!
Thank you, Mother.
You were magnificent, absolutely magnificent. Doesn't everybody agree?
You should be very proud of your son, Mrs. Krause.
We were just saying that he stole all the attention from me tonight. You are Mr. Krause's mother?
I didn't get a chance to tell you earlier, Mr. Taylor. We are from Philly.
Oh, my goodness. Then I probably already know your mother from school. Tell me, weren't we in the same class together?
We were.
What's your maiden name?
Kurtz.
Not Lois, Kurt.
Yes.
How many more of my acquaintances do you know?
Excuse me, Bobby. You were going to tell me something about Andrew?
I'm not sure I should be the one to tell you, Abe.
We even went on a date once.
You did?
I remember, Lois. We bussed to Omaha with a gang of other kids. We went to the Orpheum. What did we see?
Oh, Mamie Smith, Butterbeans and Susie, a bunch of acts.
I have been out of touch, Bob. I really would appreciate it if you told me.
There was an accident, Abe.
The Rhythm Pals.
Lois, may I interrupt you for a moment?
Oh, certainly.
Abe, there was an auto accident. Andrew swerved wrong driving down from the hills. He had been drinking. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid he's dead.
When?
A year ago. I can't imagine why nobody told you.
Well, it didn't end very well for us.
I'm really very sorry.
Well, thank you for telling me, Bobby. It wasn't my intention to put you in an awkward spot like that.
Are you all right?
I'm stunned. I think I will step out and get some air.
All right. Be sure to say something to me before you go. I would hate to leave without a goodbye to you.
The older gentleman leaves. The woman looks on, flabbergasted.
Oh, my goodness.
Mutual friend. They were roommates. Hey, listen, Mr. Krause, would you do me a favor and look after Abe for a moment?
The boy nods, exits.
My goodness, what a shock for him.
Now the stage clears of actors, set, and properties. The older gentleman returns to the stage, staggering slightly, a dull expression on his face. He pauses and looks up in the air.
Have you ever looked at the sky from the observatory? I know you're here, Mr. Krause.
The boy emerges. He crosses to the older gentleman sheepishly.
Answer my question.
Yes.
I did once, when I was a boy here in Crete. Our elementary class would sometimes take day trips. Once we came to Doane and everybody looked through the telescope. What's its name?
The Boswell Observatory.
Boswell, yes. We came at noon and watched the time ball drop. It's not in use anymore. It was a big metal ball that would drop down on a pole every day at noon. You could see it everywhere in Crete. Afterward, we took turns looking through the telescope. All we could see was blue, of course, because it was daytime. But our teacher told us that at night you could see into space for 1,000,000 miles. Have you looked through the telescope at night?
Yes.
Did you see for 1,000,000 miles?
I saw the Big Dipper. That must be at least 1,000,000 miles away.
1,000,000 miles. That's how far I wanted to get away from Crete. I moved to Omaha when I was 16, you know. Sold furniture. I took singing lessons at night. But Omaha isn't 1,000,000 miles away, is it?
No.
No. When I went into the army, I went to Casablanca. You know Casablanca? Like in the movie?
Yes.
It's in Morocco, which might as well be 1,000,000 miles away. When I came back with shrapnel in my leg, I figured that I'd gone too far. Hollywood seemed just far enough. Didn't figure I would be coming back here.
Are you all right?
No. Andrew was my lover in Hollywood. You must have figured that out.
No. But I wondered, though.
Well, there you have it. Here it is on the night of your public performance, and you find out your tutor is mentally ill, and you watch his sick heart get broken. You know, I think you're ready for opera. Homosexuality isn't frowned on in Hollywood like it is here, you know. Or at least people aren't as openly disapproving. Look at Robert Taylor. He named names before the House of Un-American Activities Committee. Apparently, he hates communists, and yet he's very cordial to an old faggot like me.
Does he know?
Oh, of course he knows. He's not a naive lump like you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be short. That was unforgivably nasty. I should not have said it. You're a very quiet boy. Do you know that?
Yes.
You're not quick with an opinion either. Either you don't think very much about anything at all, or you play your cards close to your vest. For example, looking at you right now, I can't imagine what you think about me.
What do you mean?
I'm a queer boy. You must have some sort of opinion about that, mustn't you? Honestly, I can't believe that you're so dull that you don't. So, do your old tutor a favor and share with me what you were thinking right now.
Well, I'm wondering if I am like you.
I'm going to sit down on the ground. You don't mind, do you? Usually it is polite to tell someone to sit down before you tell them something like that. Do you know what you're saying to me?
Yes.
Then I pity you. I spent my life wishing I didn't have these feelings. I have a wife and a child I will never see again because of it. And it is not like we mentally ill are capable of terrific relationships with each other either. I have dozens of songs for dozens of broken hearts, boy, and I hoped in Crete my heart would never get broken again.
Is there a cure?
There are a few. I've tried shrinks. Maybe you might have some luck with them. I didn't. I have, when I felt the least sympathy for my conditions, considered contacting a specific doctor. He travels the country in a camper van outfitted for surgery. He can take away these desires
How?
with an ice pick, if you can believe it, right through the tear duct and into the brain. A quick couple of jabs and it's over, and all you have is 2 black eyes and a headache.
Are you talking about a lobotomy?
I've looked into it, boy. Your memories, your ability to reason, your personality, they all remain intact, but you lose your desires. I've often wanted to lose mine. I've often wanted to feel nothing. I want that now.
You wouldn't really, would you?
Would I? I expect eventually I shall. You know, your prediction is probably right. Sooner or later I will fall in love with a spinster librarian, but in this case the spinster will be Marty rather than a Marion. It will go bad, as it always does, and people will talk, as people in small towns always do, and I will be alone in my dead mother's house, and I will not be able to stand it. I will make a phone call. A camper van will arrive, and I will spend the rest of my life in that house, supported by my savings, needing nothing, and more importantly, wanting nothing. It will happen, boy. It's a foregone conclusion. But it could be worse.
Do you really think it could be worse?
I could get drunk and decide to swerve off the road one night. Andrew wasn't the first faggot to think of that, and I'm sure he won't be the last. At least my suicide plans leave me alive. And boy, let me suggest to you that you make your suicide plans now. This is not the sort of thing that should be improvised at the last moment.
May I sit down?
It's your campus.
Boy sits.
I shouldn't be surprised as I am, boy. After all, I can't be the only fairy to come out of Crete, Nebraska. You've got such a quiet, angelic quality to you, though. You didn't seem like you thought about romance one way or the other. You didn't seem like you thought about anything at all, for that matter. Ah, what a wretched evening. What a conversation to have after your recital.
My father suspects.
Huh?
It is why he isn't here tonight. He never came to any of the school plays I was in. He considers it all to be sissy. He used to call me Little Nancy whenever I talked about a play or a movie. When my mother would take me back home after seeing a Robert Taylor film, he would say, "Well, Little Nancy, did you like watching The Pretty Man?"
Well, I hope you called him Flatfoot in response.
I'm sorry about your friend Andrew, but I do have an opinion about something.
What?
I think the ice pick is a bad idea.
Well, there are some days I have nothing to choose from but bad ideas.
I have a question, too.
What?
How did you get into the Army if you are a homosexual?
I lied to them, of course. When they asked, "Are you a homosexual?" I said no. I mean, it's not like I was fondling other soldiers as they slept. Nobody ever knew, or in truth, if they knew, they didn't care. There was a war on. You still thinking of joining the Army?
Yes.
Want to go to Cuba and fight some communists?
Anywhere.
Anywhere but here, huh?
Anywhere but here.
Honestly, look into the USO. Sooner or later, there will be another war on, and they're going to want somebody to sing to the troops. You have real talent, son.
Thank you.
Do you mind if we don't discuss all this awfulness anymore?
No.
It is your night, after all. Enjoy it.
It's Robert Taylor's night.
So enjoy that. But let's sit in silence. I won't bother you with my thoughts of ice picks, and you can entertain your own thoughts of Robert Taylor, which are far more enjoyable anyway.
They sit in silence for a while. The boy breaks it.
You know what?
What?
I don't like silence very much.
2 opinions in one evening. You're off to a good start, kid.
End of play.